Welcome to Safety School, where we crunch down health, safety and environment learning into simple bite-sized snippets that you can use for your business or your career, helping you improve your knowledge, boost your performance and maybe even providing some inspiration. Let's get started. Thanks for joining us here in this episode of Safety School with myself, Richard Collins, and my guest on the show today, who's Alex Burbidge from Pro Safety Management. On this episode, we're going to look at some of the common pitfalls that you can think about when you're planning and organising training for your workforce. Alex, you're very welcome on the show. Do you want to kick us off with this one?
Yes, I think sometimes people go quite narrow with their thinking, and I'm one of them. I've made some big mistakes on this. So I just go, these people over there, they need training on X. And I just go along. I either try and do it in-house. So I kind of like download the regulations, look at it, put it into a PowerPoint, and I go and deliver it. And in the past, there's either been a great success or it's been an absolute failure, and people have switched off. And I've been like, well, why? What's going wrong? Why don't I always get that good feedback? But actually, what it comes down to is my planning process was so poor because I never really determined how training fits in with the wider strategy, whether everyone needs that same level of training, and what behavioural change or skill development, I should say, what am I really after here, rather than just saying from a compliance point of view. And I think you guys just need some, for example, CDM training, construction design management training, or, you all want to go through IOSH or, NEBOSH. He's like, just sorry to drop those brands in, but what I mean, it's just like,
never heard of them before.
No, we don't know what they are. We're just like, we sometimes just think that kind of sticky plaster is going to make a massive change. And unfortunately, it doesn't always. So that's kind of where I've been caught out, if that makes sense.
It doesn't always, or it more than likely doesn't?
More than likely doesn't, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably closer, isn't it?
Yeah, more like, I've been caught out probably more than I've been successful on that. I mean, now I know different, and, I think we're probably going to talk about that, but, it is a mindset change for a trainer or anyone organising training to think differently about that.
Yeah, and one of the points that sort of raised its head for me was the importance of, and we've both experienced this, I think, without wanting to speak for you, is that it's really important for those that are going to be attending training to understand why they're being asked to attend it. Sometimes, we go to training or we book ourselves onto training courses, but I would say for the vast majority of cases, people have been sent to training via their manager or their superior, let's say, in the corporate structure. And oftentimes the communication isn't there in terms of actually communicating what is in it for the person, why they're having to attend, and as you say, what that outcome is intended to be. It's just a tick box exercise, and if you can't identify why someone should be attending as part of your planning process, it's something you should be asking yourself. If you can't identify that why, then you have to ask yourself, what is the value in doing this? And it comes down to, for the business, what is the return on the investment here, and the time and the cost and the effort of putting someone through it?
Yeah, no, I really like all those points, that big why factor. And, having kind of got the budget or got the agreement for the training to go ahead, because obviously you're sort of taking people out of their day-to-day lives, in terms of work, and obviously it impacts their personal lives, because sometimes it's a 3-day, 4-day training course or even longer. People that go on there, they're going to be completely resistant if they think that you're taking them out, taking them away from those things. And what I'd say is on that is, if you have a sponsor, a senior manager who can link it, and you can help them link this requirement around training back to the strategy, and then come into the room and say, look, everyone, this is a course I'd really like to focus, give the trainer their best, to switch off your notifications, or even better, which happened to me recently, the director had done the training with me and then went out into the class for the next set of learners and went, I've just done this. Do you know what? It was great. Yes, you might feel that some of it's not applicable, but actually I want you to go through it. And do you know what? I had a much better experience myself delivering it. And also everyone seemed to be a lot more engaged and honest about it as well.
Yeah, that just shows you the impact in terms of, the personal attitudes of those that are going through it. And yes, I have been in the position before where people have asked me, what is the point of this training? Why am I on this course? And if you as a trainer or you as the person that's planning it is getting responses like that, then you've completely missed the mark in terms of the planning and selection of the training. As well as that, Alex, something to avoid or something not to miss, I would say, is, and I'm sure you'll like this, is having no method of follow-up. So when we talk about what is the outcome or that skill development going to be for a piece of training, it's not very often that we see people following up or having some mechanism to test the learning outcomes and the skill development of those who have attended. Sorry, just lost my train of thought. Beyond taking some feedback or letting them do an exam or a quiz at the end of the training, which obviously the value of that is very limited. For me, I would say to people, have you taken into consideration in your planning process how you're going to judge how well your training has went by seeing what actually happens in real life in the workplace weeks and months after your training? Is there a mechanism in place to test that and give feedback and keep getting better and make sure you're getting the right outcomes? What do you reckon?
I love it. I just think, you know what, it isn't about just being in the room, whether the training went good, bad, or indifferent. It's about that skill development or behavioural change afterwards. And there's this guy, called Donald Kirkpatrick. In 1954, he kind of came up with this way of analysing that, and it's kind of evaluating it through, I think it was like reaction, learning, behaviour, and results. And you're certainly talking about behaviour and results. And I think we don't spend enough time thinking, how are we going to do that? What indicators are we looking for? And of course, at the end of a course, you should always have, some kind of feedback about how well the course went, but also maybe a little exam or a project or just something to say, okay, there was some level of learning, some knowledge was acquired, but then the next bit is actually going out into the workplace. You're not doing an audit on them. They don't, no one wants an audit after they've done a training course. You're broken free. You're out the room. Break free. I've gone. Last thing you want is the trainer coming doing an audit on you. But what the trainer should be doing is going, I'm not here to do an audit. I'm just going to see, is there anything that we missed? Is there anything you think, how are you, how's it helping you with your job and your role and your performance? How's it improved your performance? And then as a result of that, and this is where the methodology really comes in, is like, what's the positive impact this change has made on the business of that training course?
Yes, and that's what I was just about to mention at the end of your sentence there, is if we can identify how we can demonstrate that positive outcome or that positive improvement, then if you are the manager, you're the person planning this, and you think this is valuable, but you're struggling to get the budget for it, or you're struggling to justify it or get buy-in for it, if you can say to those who you're proposing it to, this is the outcome and this is how I'm going to demonstrate it, then all of a sudden you're in a really powerful position.
Yeah, I really like that, because you're it's like a hypothesis, isn't it? It's just like, if I do this, then this could happen. If it doesn't happen, if that outcome isn't achieved, at least you've tried to measure it, and actually you could then change your training or your delivery methods to tweak it and try and deliver that outcome the next time.
Precisely, yeah.
Don't feel like you've failed. I mean, it's the data and the evidence you capture after that really makes the difference. And we're doing, a bit of work with companies on that at the moment. And I think, it's so rewarding to capture, information that you never thought you would, and how you can then replay that back, almost closing the loop.
That's a great way to wrap up this episode, Alex, and I look forward to speaking to you more about what you're doing there with those businesses. So that does it for this one. Hopefully you'll join us for the next episode. See ya. That's it for this episode of Safety School. We hope this was helpful. If so, please remember to rate, review and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts or Spotify. And remember, for more health, safety and environment help, you can visit us at safety.com. Until next time, take care.